Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from skiessentials.com.
And I'm Bob. Happy Friday.
And I'm Matt. How's it going?
Normally on a Friday we would be sitting in the studio talking about the news, but today is the last Friday that Stowe is going to be open, or at least running the chairlifts. So we thought we would do something different and come up and go skiing.
I got no complaints about that.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. So we still do have a normal news article. So if you're looking for actual ski news, just head on over to the written article on our site and you can get your fix there. And then we will talk about kind of some housekeeping stuff, as we often do. Still kind of in that price drop season. I know we've got another round of price drops coming up soon. I believe it's May 1st is for, like, I believe it's Solomon Atomic Armada, and then potentially like Blizzard Technica and Nordica too. So keep an eye out for that. That is just on the horizon. And then if you watched last week, or if you receive our newsletters, you're probably aware that we're doing this kind of like tariff protection pre-order thing. So you can pre-order a 2026 ski, and today we added snowboards as well, and it essentially locks in your price. You know, you pay it now and you'll get your ski when we get it.
Yeah.
Many of them we already have in stock, and essentially even if the manufacturers end up charging us more, which unfortunately is very likely, we won't expect you to pay any more. You'll get your skis for what you paid now. Now we've been talking about it a lot internally, and I mean, fully understand that not everybody knows what they want to have for next year yet.
Right.
So what we're doing today, we added, this is Josh's wording, which is pretty spectacular, a tariff-free price guarantee.
That is nice.
You gotta love the rhyming.
Rolls off the tongue.
So if you don't know what you want, or if you know, maybe you're waiting for the ski tests to come out, maybe you like to wait for the comparison articles and videos, I certainly can get behind that.
Yep.
We're basically offering a $100 coupon or credit or deposit, whatever you want to call it, that is fully refundable and essentially locks in your pricing to current prices.
Yeah.
So we'll keep track of everybody that has purchased a $100 tariff-free price guarantee. It'll be attached to your account at Ski Essentials, and then when it comes time to buy skis, you can use that and it'll guarantee that you get the original price.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense, Bob?
It makes sense to me. Matt's the one who answers the phone calls. So
Matt, does that make sense to you?
I do have one question.
Okay.
Does that $100 get put towards the price, or is it on top of?
Okay. No.
Just want to clarify.
Yeah, we don't want extra money from people. That's kind of the idea here.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, you use that coupon essentially, or gift card, or whatever you want to call it,
and then buying it after, in a sense.
Sure.
Like you pay the rental price, and then if you want to buy the ski, they take that price off of the floor price.
So you will physically use the coupon towards the price.
Right.
So I think that's it. Bob, you've been gone all week, so it was a little bit of a slower week for content, but we got a lot of stuff on the horizon. We filmed an On Snow Camex review like way back in February.
Yeah, that one's gonna look funny because it's gonna be all like fresh snow and
very
winter
snowy
conditions.
Yep. So we'll have that out for you on Monday next week, and then we should have quite a bit to kind of follow up after that.
Yeah.
Potentially some boot stuff. And we're almost at the top here, so I figured we would take at least 5 runs, given it is top 5 Fridays.
Yep.
And we brought a selection of gear, so each person will at least get a run. I may end up getting more than one because I brought the most gear.
I mean, we could have fit more in the truck.
Yeah, well, I didn't even know you were going to be here today, so we didn't have much time to prep for you. So we're going to go skiing, and then we'll just kind of, we'll catch up and chat with you as we go.
All right, Jeff, that was a pretty full run down nosedive.
Yeah, I'm tired.
As we have at the end of April, variable conditions and unmarked obstacles.
Yeah, I landed on dirt.
You landed on dirt?
I think so.
I went over a water bar on my way down lower nosedive.
Yeah, I almost lost it on like the kind of the bottom of nosedive, like carrying speed to cut up here.
Well, that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about what you got on your feet there.
So in totality,
let's start with the boots and work down to the skis.
I have a K2 Cortex 140, which I've been skiing in what, the past 3 or 4 days?
Yeah, about.
Yeah, I'm trying to spend more time in them as we kind of wrap up the season here. We did that interview with Tom from K2 a while back. In that, I learned that my strategy of bolt placement made no sense. So since then, I have swapped those bolts, trying to soften it just a tiny bit. And I also took out that power plate thing. And I've been lacing up the liner, the stock liner, if you want full details.
I do, because Zipfit in a Cortex 140 is likely very different than stock, and I've experienced that in my Cortex 140 experience.
Yeah, the only reason that I haven't really gone with the Zipfit in these is it's like a little too tight. You know, these are lower volume than the Speedmachines, and those are kind of what I molded the Zipfits with, so to speak. Yeah, I landed right on that dirt.
Nice dirt.
I would do it again. 10 out of 10. So yeah, I think like for next season, I'm very interested in, I might like kind of remold my Zipfit, and because I think there's something here, and there's a lot about this boot that on paper, like in theory, should work really well for me.
Yeah.
Like 2.5 degree ramp angle, so it's flatter than like most things that I'm used to skiing, which in theory I'm going to like in the park. So I'm just kind of like, I'm open to the idea of this potentially being the boot that I ski in most next season, you know what I mean? Yeah,
and I'll chime in with my 2 cents if you don't mind, because I have a lot of Cortex 140 miles.
This is my time, Bob.
I'm gonna, you can reclaim it when I'm done. But no, I found my Zipfits fit in there great and were extraordinary. It was the most precise setup I've had all year.
Yeah.
I like struggled mightily to get them off at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The usability of
with the Zipfit.
With the Zipfit. For me and the Zipfit
whether
with the
you're
Cortex.
taking shell off alone or
it was
whatever.
Brutal.
Yeah.
The boots are so stiff
and they're so tight in the heel.
Yeah, and if
like
it's cold at all,
heel.
like it's really hard to flex that.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean the boots are great. We were talking about it yesterday, like the amount of power transfer from like the inside of the upper cuff. Like I don't know that I've ever experienced that direct power transfer right to your inside edge. And while we're on the topic of the boots, it was also really cool to see like they had a pretty strong presence in that natural selection competition.
I mean,
so it's like, you know, when you see like what to me are some of the best skiers in the world skiing in this thing, it like, I don't know, it made me a little bit more excited to get back in it and figure it out. And then I feel like we should keep going because we're getting to the top again.
Okay.
I also have a lovely pink Strive 14, which great binding, like really good. So many people would love a Strive 14. And then I got this QST 100 that is my personal pair that's like mounted a little bit more forward. Most of the time I love the mount point that I chose. In this stuff, I sure wish I was just at a normal mount point.
I was thinking on my way down, I'm glad I'm on the 94 with a slightly softer boot as opposed to a more centrally mounted 100 with a very stiff boot.
Yeah.
You know, that's a tough combo.
Yeah. So, you know, just you're feeling the shovel kind of plow a little bit in these conditions. But yeah, I mean, great combo, really fun. The last thing I'll say is, when was the last time we talked about ski and boot combinations? We like kind of went down that rabbit hole earlier this season.
I remember talking about these orange boots that I have on my feet that I felt like there was some really good pairings with the boots.
Unsurprisingly, based on their intention and their design, this boot with that Revolt 101 was sick.
Yep. Yeah.
Not that it's not great with the QST, but like that Revolt's more chargy and this boot's pretty chargy. So the combination just made a lot of sense.
Now, do you feel generally that you want to align stiffness with stiffness and energy with energy?
I kind of think so.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that way too.
Yeah.
My best pairings on these energetic orange boots have been on energetic skis.
Yeah.
And my best pairings with the
Yeah, they're just like
the heavier, denser
heavy
Cortex.
and damp, and then you match it to a heavy, damp ski.
Yeah.
And it works pretty well.
Yeah. Well, you got reclaimed time here that the lift stopped if you want to add anything else.
I think my feet kind of hurt. They're just tight. And we've talked about those Zipfit liners a lot, like how they're like pretty loose in the forefoot, and it's just like I'm like a little spoiled, I'd say.
You get used to it, and then you got to change, and your feet are very sensitive.
Like
and
Matt can attest to it. Like, was it 2 days ago? Whenever, or maybe 3 days ago, like the first day this week that I used these boots, our first run, I was like, I don't know if I can keep doing that. Like,
we were headed to the car.
Yeah.
And then you went off a jump, landed on some firm stuff.
Yeah, locked me in the pocket. And I was like, actually, this is fine. So it is. You're right. You do get used to it. Whose turn is it now? You want to turn, Bob?
Yeah, I'll take a turn.
Okay. All right, Bob. That was a much more like relaxing, pleasant path down the mountain. So thank you for that.
I'm happy to cruise.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Tell me what you have on your feet.
Okay, I'm gonna go one layer more internal and give a shout out to my Smart Wool ultralight no cushion socks.
Okay.
Which I think are just unbelievable. I've been in Smart Wools forever, and these work really, really well. I don't do anything thicker because then I can't move my feet, so I need something super thin. Then moving out one layer, I got the Zipfit Workhorse.
Yep. Which you love.
Love. Leather outer, leather inner. Your foot doesn't move around at all. It's like you're suction cupped in your boot, especially from the midfoot back. And then these new Technica Mach 1 130 LVs, which I'm normally not an LV skier, but with the Zipfit offering me more room in the forefoot, and just putting a little bit of width in there.
This guy's done.
I bet his equipment is done.
You think that
looks like a technical?
Does kind of look like an equipment failure.
Yeah. Well, good luck to him.
Well, regardless of the reason, he's done.
But yeah, I really like these boots. This with the Zipfit is probably my favorite combo of the year. I do think there's something to that Cortex 140, even with the stock liner.
Yeah.
I'm like 100% happy in that too.
Yeah.
But the forebuckle, the ease of use of the forebuckle for me, as well as just like I said, that suction cup fit. Like my ankle and heel are not moving at all.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then I guess I'll give a shout out to the boot caps too.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have your boot caps on.
They're on my other boots. I'll
Yeah.
have them on in a couple runs
Just
here.
this little like piece of foam seems to work really well. It really diverting the cold air and the snow from interacting with the plastic, especially when you're moving. When you're standing still, they don't do a whole lot, but when you're moving, I think there's something there.
They sure are a conversation starter, aren't they?
If you meet a whole lot of new friends.
I don't think
with your boot caps.
I've never used another piece of ski equipment that results in more questions than like these boot cap things.
Well, maybe your Lebent balaclava that we all seem to love. But
Yeah, we're really striking a lot of controversy on our Instagram Snow Report channel by wearing balaclavas in the spring.
It has moved to YouTube as well, Jeff. I don't know if you've noticed in the comments.
I haven't noticed that.
Yeah, a lot of our spring content is getting balaclava comments.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I don't know. People just don't think that we look comfortable, but I assure you I am.
Yeah, so like these are thin merino wool. And if you're curious, merino wool has both warming and cooling properties. So like on a hot day, it actually keeps you cooler.
It keeps the sun off some of your face.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I couldn't ski without it. It would be like coming
more
up
comfortable under your helmet. Yeah. So, and the other thing, I replied to a question on our Snow Report about it. Like, I picked up the habit living out west.
Yeah.
Because like you kind of need your skin covered. And even like coaching in Colorado, I was on snow for 5 days straight and like full long days. And I had this on the whole time, and I was often like, excuse me, you know, I would often
Yeah, fully covered.
just do that.
Yep.
And like even this is not too hot by any means for me. And at the end of the trip, it was mostly from parents. So many parents came up to me. We actually, back in Vermont, we had a little like end of the season wrap up, and so many parents came up to me and were like, how are you not sunburnt? Like, I'm just fried, and I was putting sunscreen on 5 times a day, and I was like, oh yeah, this thing.
Yeah.
So anyways, what about your skis? Did
Yeah,
we
let's
talk about
move down
skis yet?
to the QST 94s. This is a demo pair with a demo binding.
Yeah, didn't hit any rocks skiing over that dirt.
No, nice and light. You know, you develop a feel for turfing after a few years, but no, a little bit more directional than your 100s there, both in mount point and in style. Yep. And one of the smoothest, most welcoming skis I've been on this year, and just capable of pretty much anything from high-speed GS turns to tight moguls and trees.
To cruising spring slush.
Yeah, totally fine. I was on, you know, a Revolt 101 earlier this morning, and I don't know, they're both great. Yeah. You know, they just kind of go right through it.
But both great. Yeah,
so this is not mine, but they can have it back when they ask for it, but not a second sooner.
Mike is a pretty like tolerable guy.
Yeah, but he also likes to keep track of his skis.
He does. He's pretty diligent.
Yeah.
He's one of the more organized sales reps, I would say.
Yeah.
All right, Matt's turn.
Yeah, Matt's on.
Matt brought giant skis because he's young and crazy.
He might have the right answer after all.
Who knows? Yeah. I mean,
so far I'm happy with my decision.
Yeah. I mean, I've been known to take some giant skis out on spring days, so we'll keep skiing, and then we'll go back to the truck and I'll swap some gear, swap some boots, stuff like that.
Sweet.
Okay. I really made a mess of the back of your truck here. Look at all that stuff.
That's how it looks most days.
Okay. So, you were talking about them being challenging to take off.
With the Zipfit liner,
well,
I actually have no problem with the stock liner.
Do you take the shell off or take it all off and
I can't take the shell off.
So I've learned that I can.
Yeah, I don't bend like that.
Yeah, that's the key.
So I have to do it the only way that I can.
Well, I would say you could stretch more, but I think you're beyond that at this point in your life.
Well, it's always on my list. All right, footbed.
Footbed in, Zipfit.
Zipfit in.
Oh, it's like
sigh of relief.
It's like being home after like a really long, somewhat painful trip. This adds a whole nother element.
Yeah, you
to
gotta put your boot board back together before you put your boot on.
Both of them.
So toe goes in.
They're both broken.
Heel goes in.
I understand the point, or like the benefit of these.
Of a solid Zeppa.
Yeah, but I also, like the Cortex is rubber.
Right, and that boot rips. It's not like you need a...
Yeah. So, this question is for Nordica. Can I retrofit my Speedmachine with a rubber boot board?
Or do you just get an endless supply of plastic ones?
But it's like the impact absorption. It's not just breaking them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then that goes in like that. Super easy because it's 60 degrees outside.
I also have a season of practice. Like a pro now. Zipfit Pro.
Remember how much stress it caused at first?
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Just shows you can overcome any obstacle.
Grandmother always told me if there's a will, there's a way, Bob. She was a wise woman, that Valerie Wyman.
That's a slog over here. You had mentioned though that when you swapped from those Unleashed 120s to these M-Free 100s that they were a lot lighter.
Felt like there was nothing on my feet.
So that Unleashed 120 that you just skied on,
Yep.
new ski from Nordica.
Big, right? 190?
190,
Yeah.
120, terrain specific metals, so 2 partials, sheets of Titanol. It's a beast.
But a different shape and profile than Unleashed 114.
Yep.
So
Or any Unleashed.
any Unleashed, yeah. So it's a new ski, new style. This is the Spring's version of powder, I guess, is
Yeah.
slush. I don't know if it'll come through on camera, but following you down North Slope, the sound that those skis made was nuts. Like just splash.
Yeah,
Like they move a lot of product under your foot.
for sure.
They feel that way though, right? For the most part? Like
100%.
yeah.
Yeah. Like we often talk about the Enforcer 104 as being a C130. I don't know planes well enough to say what model they are.
I don't even know what a C-140
That's like one of those big cargo planes, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's like the big military cargo
Yeah.
plane. But
What is a C-140 and Enforcer 104?
yeah,
The new one or the old one?
The new one.
Okay. Just making sure I'm...
Getting your analogies
Yeah,
straight?
yeah. Well, I don't know what plane it is, but it's like twice as much as that.
Yeah.
But I've vlogged a lot of time on that 120 in really good snow.
Yeah.
And it does move a lot of product around. And kind of going back to our first run when I was filming Jeff, they don't like to ski reactively. They like to ski with you in the pilot seat and like really driving it. Just because there is a lot of material there. So, you know, that part you kind of have to get used to, but once you do that and understand it more, they're very predictable, very reliable, very strong. But the added tip rocker and taper has really, really helped compared to those old Unleashed.
Yeah.
So that part, sorry, current
narrower.
current narrower. But they're incredible. They're one of my standouts for the year. I think that, you know, in that powder ski category, there wasn't a hard charging beast like that for a very long time.
You were happy to ski on the Solomon QST Blank
Yep.
when that was available.
Yep.
And then when the Unleashed 120 showed up, you were quick to get your claws around that as well.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like a U ski. It doesn't necessarily seem like a here ski
No.
Yeah, I agree.
in Vermont.
No.
Whereas that Blank is better suited. I think that Unleashed 120, and you know, I've only skied it on spring snow. It operates better at higher speeds and wider open areas and longer turns.
Yeah.
So a few days here maybe, but the higher percentage skier is going to be somewhere larger.
Right.
So
Yeah. But then other than that, I'm still on the Kesley K130 P. I don't know if it's still relevant because there's nothing that's
Yeah.
changed about them. But they're just a fantastic boot for me. It's pretty much a recreational plug boot, which I think perfectly fits my style of skiing. I like to mix free ride with carving, and that's what this boot does extremely well.
yeah.
And then I'm gonna shout out my socks too, because I'm a LeBent guy.
Oh, nice.
Like I'm full, everything that touches my skin
Yep.
underneath is all LeBent. So I'm gonna give that shout out there. But yeah, now I'm back on.
LeBent, Mons Royale, darn tough.
I just wear I wear cotton underlayers.
I know you do. You're a crazy person.
that's
I wear a cotton t-shirt. No, I mean, yeah, everyone's got their own preferences. Whatever works and fits best is
Yeah.
obviously ideal.
I have
yeah.
one quick thing to add
yeah.
for those Unleashed 120s.
You get the whole lift ride, man.
I found it interesting their sizing. Like I think they only make a 180 and a 190,
Yeah, I think you're right.
which is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And at first I was I wouldn't say apprehensive, but I was a little nervous going into it being like, this is a 190 centimeter, like 120, 2 sheets of metal ski. And after spending so much time on it, that is the right size for sure. There's no doubt in my mind. And even,
Makes sense.
yeah, I mean, like for my height, 6'2", almost 200 pounds, that on paper that makes sense. But even for around here, I don't think I would go 180. Even for added maneuverability, I just never found that I needed that additional maneuverability.
I think you have to have a specific set of preferences to be an Unleashed 120 around here skier.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying that skier doesn't exist, but you know, the stars have to align for that to be someone's choice off the wall.
Absolutely.
For a Stowe or anywhere in the Northeast ski.
100%.
And this is probably one of the one of the better places to have it around here. So, yeah. Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right, cool.
Great ski, great boots.
Yeah. Jeff,
who's going next?
And Matt, you're on very
Me.
Competitive skis. We've all kind of entered the 100 millimeter zone of the day, I would say. But Jeff, you got pink skis.
Do yours say Pro Model on them?
No, that's a Sharpie.
They don't know that.
I think it's from the factory. All right, we'll get Jeff.
All right, Jeff, swapped out some things.
Yeah.
And looks like this has been your pretty much daily driver setup when we're not testing skis. Like you got your speed machines with the Zipfit, and then on your Tariff-Free 100s. And I have it in text, so I have it on record that this is your favorite ski ever.
I think I said it might be. You gotta look at your text.
We might be.
I think
I don't know.
There
We're
was
looking into the evidence on this one.
Yeah, by all means, do it.
But
I
have to post.
I think I said something like very well could be. And yeah, I mean it's still I still have that opinion. It's so fun. Like there's a lot of things that I like to do on skis that you can't really do right now. Like I mean, I guess just like carving
turns.
carving groomers is pretty tough to do right now. But you know, take that out of the equation, and like that's how I like to ski. Like kind of just being a little bit silly and like finding little natural hits and popping 180s and skiing switch, and this just does all of that so well.
Turn the mountain into a park.
Yeah, and then they're good in the park too, so they're just really fun for me. I guess, like, you know, we talked about the sound they make. That's the one thing. If I could change one thing about them, it would be like a tiny bit more vibration damping, but then they would be heavier, you know?
Right.
So it's like, I'm not sure, I don't know that that's like necessarily possible, you know? Or like, if you were to do that, would it change it on the other side and take away something that I like about it? So it's not like, it's not a real concrete wish, but it's something I think about.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, back in Speedmachine, dual dial, double boa, with my Zipfit liners and a pivot too. And I mean, I don't think there's ever been a combination of equipment that I have felt more comfortable on, just overall. You're just like standing still. It's just like, yeah, this feels right.
Right.
So,
you know, I was a little bit
very
surprised. No one asked you about your boot caps that lap.
Yours match really well.
we didn't
Yeah,
stop.
they're a little incognito.
We didn't give people the opportunity.
That's fair.
If we had stopped kind of where that group of people were,
Yeah.
and just skied over to them, they would have.
It would have come up. 100%.
It definitely would have come up.
Yeah. They wouldn't have even asked your name. They've been like, how do those work?
I don't know why they would ask my name.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I have to say. These are awesome. Do you guys have other skis to switch to?
This is my last one.
And like
that
your
I've
last
got.
one, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you want to? Your truck's probably locked.
Yeah.
Do you want to give me your keys? And like, sure, you can do one. I mean, honestly, you could even do this one, and then another one,
And we'll see you at the bottom.
and then I'll go switch. You guys can talk about M3 100.
Okay.
Matt can film you, talk about that, and then I'll come back with the most bizarre combination of equipment.
Look forward to this.
It's not actually bizarre, but a lot of like new stuff.
Yeah.
And I've never skied this combination, so I'll let you guys do your thing, and I'll meet you in a run.
All right.
Sweet.
All right, Matt, that ski does have your name on it, so that means it's yours and you can do whatever you want with it. So we just skied Hayride, and that is just a really fun trail overall, and especially in the spring. It just seems to, I don't know, develop terrain really well, especially on that left side. You were a big fan of the left side.
Yeah, always.
And that's where the snow is, so you got to stick there.
Yeah.
And then when we kind of got down to the top of the Wengen pitch there, we had a little break, and you had talked about how smeary they are for how much camber they have. And I thought that was interesting. If you want to talk a little bit more about that, I would love to hear it.
Sure. I mean, I've thought about it a lot, and it could just be because this length is just a little bit on the short side.
185 for you?
185, but we measured it, and it's a little bit closer to like 182.
Yep.
So I think that perhaps it might just be because of my almost 200 pounds that I easily compress that camber, and then the rocker profile really takes over. Or it could be a flex pattern thing where it's just that kind of Goldilocks flex where it's torsionally stiff enough for really nice carves and then supple enough for me to be able to compress that camber when skiing it more flat and just be able to swivel it more. But yeah, it's pretty incredible to feel that camber as soon as you put it over on edge. Like, it feels like someone that you're just grabbing onto the snowpack, which is a really cool feeling. But then the taper shape acts really well with that kind of grip and rip feel from the camber. It doesn't feel hooky or anything. And then again, that taper comes back when you're skiing it more flat, and it's just really easy to maneuver. But it's just so much energy. I feel like I could just pop out of everything.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of good packed powder days.
Oh man.
Like, they carve extremely well.
Yeah.
For a 100mm underfoot twin tip with no metal.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of, I tend to look for skis like that punch above their level. That's like, there's no reason, and my ski will have the same discussion, there's no reason a wood course ski should be able to carve and grip on even firmer snow. Yeah. I mean, like, we did have a lot of packed powder this season, and I'm not going to complain about that at all. But even when it got firm, it's amazing the energy and grip that those things have. And
I'll add that QST 100 to this conversation.
Sure.
Like, that thing carves extremely well and is very damp. I don't think it's as damp as either your Revolt or my M-Free here, but man, they hold an edge extremely well. Yeah. We just have some very versatile skis today. Yeah. And I think that's kind of a theme of like our standouts for the year. And at the end of the day, we're all like reasonably similar ski styles. Like, we all like to do to varying degrees, you know, like I like to ski playfully, but not in the park. Right. You know, like we all like to carve turns on groomers. We all like to ski in the woods, you know, and we ski here. So it's not really that out of the realm that we would all like 100mm wood core skis. Right. Some with varying degrees of twin tip shape and profile. So I'm not surprised by that. And ski companies do a really good job of making these skis. Totally. So, and just to wrap up my M-Free here, it hits a lot of Goldilocks levels on things. So in terms of flex, it's stiff but supple. In terms of energy, it's very energetic but also very damp. Yeah. And yeah, I call those paradoxical qualities. Yeah. Where two opposing qualities kind of work in harmony. Yeah. And yeah, to me, those are fun skis. Yep. So. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you. Your turn? Yeah, I'm going to go on these Revolt 101s that we've talked about for a bit. And see how they Revolt 101s? No, those are yours. These are mine now. Yeah, we have a little ski share going, so no issues at all. But yeah, we'll ski on those and let you know. Sweet. All right, Bob, we're back. You kind of have a storied history with this ski, I think. Started a very long time ago at Pico. Way back in the year. Yeah. Yeah. I had no idea what it was. I didn't know that they were coming out with a Vocal Revolt 101. I saw a couple people skiing it. I thought it looked chintzy. I was like, oh, this is just some type of intermediate level ski or whatever. And didn't ask about it, just asked. I said I want to ski that and got on it. And was pretty impressed from turn number 1.
Had no idea that it is a pared down version of the Revolt 114, their wider, more aggressive freeride ski, and really uses the same construction and overall dimensions, just in a narrower footprint. And what that does is it allows the freeride athletes to have a low tide ski, and I hate the term low tide, but it certainly does well at kind of advertising what it's supposed to do. So when there's no new snow, you can ski on this and get the same feeling as turn shape and style as the 114.
Right.
What ends up happening is that for people like us who ski at Stowe and like to carve turns on groomers and then mix it up in soft snow and bumps and trees, this ends up becoming like a pure joy for an all-mountain ski.
Totally.
And going back to the M-Free conversation, the ski has no business being as strong, stiff, and aggressive in a carved turn as this thing does with no metal.
Totally.
Just a wood core and just interesting shaping to it. The tail, this flat tail, I don't know if you can kind of get a look at that, this long flat tail.
Hold on, I'm gonna go back here.
Oh, okay.
Either or.
Yeah.
Like I'm putting mine up next to yours as a comparison.
Right. Really interesting kind of technique of having long low rocker, a narrow pintail with like a lot of early taper, and that what that does in this stuff is it cuts a clean line.
Right.
Like it is unbelievable how smooth this ski tracks through this spring snow especially, but really through anything remotely soft, and just a ton of energy. And then on snowy days, you know, we've had it on some snowy days and thing rips. You know, I think there was one day that we kind of wished we had the 189 as opposed to this 182.
Yeah.
But for 99% of the days, really happy on this 182. So really fun ski. It just feels solid and substantial and totally confidence inspiring. But also one of those skis that, like we were talking about earlier, pairs a little better with that K2 Cortex 140 versus the orange boot here. Just a little more power in that K2 really emphasizes the aggressive driving capabilities of this ski.
Yeah.
With this boot, it's a little bit more energetic and poppy, but also a little bit harder to get ultimate control.
For sure.
But overall, been super impressed with this Revolt 101.
Yeah, and I think that we've all had very positive experiences on this ski. Like it's just across the board, this thing is incredible. So
yeah, and whether you can put a finger on it and name it or not is kind of immaterial.
Yeah.
You know, we have had a lot of people on our staff who we've been like, here, try this thing out and see what you think, and they're like, oh wow, that was a really different experience than anything else.
yeah, it's so unique.
Yeah, like a QST or your M-Free, you kind of, you know, you're getting into something, you know what it is.
Yeah.
And this is not. You know, it's just it's a vastly different experience than pretty much anything else out there. So certainly worth a try. It's a very unassuming looking ski, so I don't know if people are going to be grabbing it off the wall, but if you see it for demo, definitely give it a try. It's really unique.
I think I have a theory.
Can I throw you made a really positive blanket statement that was just like it's awesome across the board. I don't know that that's fair. It's not like the most maneuverable ski in the woods.
I would agree with
It's
that.
not like dynamic. Just at the risk of someone being like, you guys are way too positive. That's all.
No, I would agree. I mean, like in the review, the long form review that we put out when I had it out on a new snow day, but there's a little bit of a crust layer. That's when I really found that those tended to struggle. But it seemed like all of us had a generally very good experience on them. It wasn't.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there are some caveats for sure.
I'm just not going to sit here and let you say that Jeff says this ski is 100% awesome across the board.
For me,
that's what we're here
for
for,
me
right?
in the 182, I didn't have any problems with those.
Well, that's
those
what I was
downsides
going to
you're
say
talking about.
first. I was over
Yeah.
here scheming, and I was going to be like, you guys like it more than I do. Like, I think that's
Yeah.
true, too. Like,
Yeah.
I fully appreciate that ski, and like I was saying earlier, like, that ski with the Cortex boot, it was like, this is sick. And, like, it's super fun, but, yeah, that's all. I'm
No,
not
I would
trying to
agree.
be negative for the sake of being negative, just being defensive.
That's what being negative for the sake of being negative is.
Yeah, fair.
No,
No, it's a really good ski. I just, you know.
No, and you're right. I think that the tail does act the other way too, where if All right, we got cut off mid-thought there, but we can wrap it up pretty quick. If you identify as a bob skier, you will probably really enjoy this Revolt 101.
Thank you.
Definitely been one of the pleasant surprises for me.
Yeah.
So,
And I will say I do agree with Jeff that there are times when that ski is not the most maneuverable compared to other skis in its category, for sure. So thank you for clarifying and bringing that up, because I don't know, I got excited.
That's what I'm here for. I'm diplomatic.
Yeah.
it's fun to get excited.
Yeah. All right, so now we're back, got a new battery, we're good to go. And Jeff, you're on your, word did you use to describe it? Your not mismatch, but
No, I don't remember. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I have a Phaenom FS1. It's a crazy thing. And then I've got a Jester X M-Werks 16. And then I've got a Revolt 96. The Revolt 96 is not too crazy, but new binding, new boot company. Let's go skiing and then we can talk about it.
okay, bye.
Okay, last Friday at Stowe. Thanks guys. That was a fun top 5 Fridays.
That was really tiring.
Yeah.
Yeah, did like 9 runs, 8 runs. I said at least 5. And yeah, just to wrap things up, this is the boot that I was skiing in that past run. It's the Phaenom FS1. We haven't talked about these really at all this season, but a new boot company like aligned with Faction, which is pretty interesting. 2 buckles, obviously. There's actually a bunch of really unique things about them. It's 2 buckles. They're very modular. Like every piece is really easy to take off and replace. And then they like don't really have a boot board, so the bottom of the boot is not completely flat, and the liner actually has like a sole. It reminds me of like rollerblades. Like some rollerblades, you can take the liner out and just walk around in it, and that's kind of the idea with these. Pretty interesting.
Solves your broken boot board dilemma.
Totally. Yeah, and like as a park boot, there's something to be said about that. And yeah, that's
power strap too.
crazy power strap, like this rubber thing that just wraps around and has like really big flat thing in the front. So yeah, I'd say to me they feel it's pretty similar reaction to the AR1. They definitely ski differently. We'll talk more about it some other time, but yeah, they feel more like a park boot. Not much like power transfer or precision when you're just skiing, but then sliding rails, they were sweet. And then we'll talk a lot more about the Marker Jester X M-Werks binding. Really, really low stand height. It's like 9mm stand height in the toe. Still, I believe the same like angle as a normal Jester. But I'm very impressed. I've skied them a lot now. I probably have 10 or 15 days skiing a Revolt 96 with that binding on it. And it's awesome, especially if you love skiing park, because it just lowers your center of gravity, brings you closer to the snow, and feels really good. I know you like had a different reaction with like a Mantra.
It was just different.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can tell a performance difference for better or for worse. I haven't figured that out yet, but
yeah,
it is very much precise.
Yeah.
When you get on a precise ski like an M7, it doubled. It's exponential.
Well, it is interesting, and there was a moment because I skied it. That's all I skied when I was in Copper, and there was like one spot just skiing down to the lift where you could make like a really sweet carving turn that was kind of like double fall liney, and you could get really low. And I was just playing around with doing that like the whole trip. And one time I really tried to get as low as I could and just booted out like right away, and was like, well, you know, that's maybe part binding because you're just so low.
Yeah.
So anyways, we'll talk more about that sometime. I'm gonna get some lunch because I'm starving. Thanks for joining us for this really, really long special Top 5 Fridays.